Hey there, you're welcome to Skilled.me. My name is Philemon. So this video provides answers to some few questions people were asking based on our previous video on the interpretation of p-value. So this video addresses one of the questions, and we'll do subsequent videos to address the other questions that were asked. If this is your first time, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to this page for more subsequent and educative content on data analytics. Alright, so then someone wanted to find out what happens when your p-value is greater than 0.05 but less than 0.10. This person wants to understand that when you run your analysis, testing your hypothesis, and you get a p-value that is greater than 5% but it is less than 10%, what happens, or what do you do? Okay, now to answer that question, I would like us to set the basis right. So let's get this foundation. P-value usually has a general threshold of 5%. That being said, you can actually set your own p-value level. Okay, you can set your own p-value level, but generally p-value has a threshold of 5%. So we are looking at anything that is 5% or below, then we use it to interpret our results. So let's say we have a p-value with a threshold of 5%, but we run our analysis and we get a p-value that is equal to 0.08. Okay, so when we run analysis and we get 8% level at a threshold of 5%, what this means is that the 0.08 is greater than our threshold of 5%. And in this case, we fail to reject the null hypothesis. What this means, the general rule of p-value interpretation is that when your result is greater than 0.05, we fail to reject the null hypothesis. Okay, you can watch the previous videos to explain further what the null hypothesis is, the alternative hypothesis, and all that. But in this case, when you run your analysis where you get a p-value that is greater than 0.05, we fail to reject the null hypothesis, and the implication is that your result or your evidence is not significant. Okay, it means that your result or your evidence is not significant. So this is the first part to answer this question. Now let's say you set your own threshold. Instead of the 5%, you set your own threshold to be at 10%. Now, when you set your own threshold to be at 10% and you run the analysis and your p-value result is 8%, the implication here is that your p-value is less than 10%. So getting 0.08 means that it is less than 0.1. Now, the general rule is that when you run an analysis and the result you are getting is less than your p-value, you reject the null hypothesis. Okay, you reject the null hypothesis because your p-value is actually less than your set target. So we reject the null hypothesis. Now, in any situation where you reject the null hypothesis, it means that your result is significant. Okay, it means that your result is significant, or your evidence that you're having is significant. The thing you need to take notice of is that in this case, you explain that your evidence is significant at 0.1 significant level, or you see that your result is significant at 10%, not the 5%, because at this point we have set our threshold to be 10% and not 5%. So at all times, you should know that when you set your threshold above 5%, or whichever percentage, 10%, 8%, whichever percentage you set it, in your interpretation or in your explanation, you need to indicate the significance level you set. Okay, so the correct statement to make in this case is that the result is significant at 0.10 significance level, or it is significant at 10% significance level, but not at 5%. Now, this is the catch. You see, when you set your own threshold above 5%, even though it is correct, even though it is valid, it means that your evidence or the results that you're having is weaker. So your evidence to justify your hypothesis to reject or to fail to reject your null hypothesis is weaker. Even though at 10% it is still correct and it is still valid, it only means that the evidence you are providing is a weaker evidence. So basically, this is how to interpret a p-value result when you run the analysis and it is greater than 0.05, but it is less than 0.1. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.